Now we'll move on with the nephron, which is the structural and the functional unit of the kidney. Nephron, it is like this, somewhat situated. It has this Bowman's capsule over here, PCT. Then it has loop of Henle, which goes down to the medulla. Then it comes back again to the cortex, half in the cortex, half in the medulla. Okay, and there are many millions of nephrons present. These nephrons will carry out the function of filtration, reabsorption, secretion. The three major functions which we'll be doing in the pathophysiology subject in detail. So this will do this function of formation of the urine. Once the urine is formed, it is taken up by the ureter, and ureter will put it into the urinary bladder. So now let's look at that structural and functional unit of kidney, which is nephron. So write down the topic nephron. So nephron comes under the microscopic structure of the kidney. So right now what are we learning? We are learning about the microscopic structure of kidney. So for that, write down nephron. They might ask you this very simple question, that what is the structural and functional unit of the kidney? It is nephron. So nephron, write down. It is structural and functional unit of okay. Now nephron, it is divided into, write down, PCT, loop of Henle, and DCT, and lastly the collecting duct. Now let's look at each one in detail. Now what is PCT? Write down its full form. It is proximal convoluted. What it is proximal convoluted tubule. What is loop of Henle? It is divided into two. It is a loop, right? So it is having a descending limb and an ascending limb. Okay. What does DCT stands for? Distal convoluted tubule. Now let's do each in detail. PCT, you must know something about this, that it has mitochondria. Now what does mitochondria does? Wherever you have a lot of mitochondria, at that place, you must know that energy is required on a very large scale. So it has mitochondria. For what? For sodium, potassium, ATPase pump. And you must know that most of the sodium, around 60 to 70%, around 60 to 70% of sodium is absorbed here. Reabsorbed here, you can write. Now what do you mean by reabsorbed here is that it will be taken up back into the blood. Sodium is important for us, right? We have a lot of sodium, potassium pumps and many other things. You should also remember that sodium is related to your blood pressure. If you have a high sodium count in your body, then you have a high blood pressure. And one more thing, that whenever sodium goes from this proximal convoluted tubule into the blood bag, it takes away water. So you should remember that sodium loves water. So wherever sodium goes, water will go with it. Okay. Regarding histology, one thing you should remember, that proximal convoluted tubule, it is lined by simple cuboidal brush border epithelium. So it has microvilli present. Okay. Brush border is simply microvilli. So cuboid, and the epithelium is cuboidal. Simple cuboidal brush border epithelium. Loop of Henle, it has simple squamous epithelium, because here only the water diffusion mostly takes place, and passive diffusion of the sodium as well. Simple squamous epithelium. That's all you have to remember for the loop of Henle. It has a descending limb, which is thin, and ascending limb, which is thick. Descending limb is continuation of the proximal convoluted tubule, and ascending limb will continue into distal convoluted tubule. For DCT, write down its epithelium is also simple cuboidal, similar to proximal convoluted, but it is not a brush border. It is just simple cuboidal epithelium. It does not have mitochondria like in proximal convoluted tubule. Okay. Now on distal convoluted tubule, you must remember one more point, that here an hormone acts, and the hormone's name is aldosterone. What is the hormone's name? Aldosterone acts at this DCT. Now what is the function of aldosterone? It increases sodium in our body and decreases potassium. That means it will reabsorb sodium and secrete potassium. So potassium is taken into the urine and sodium will be taken up back to the blood. Okay. So this is the function of aldosterone. Collecting duct, you should remember here a lot of collecting ducts will meet, which will open into the ureter. See, you have many nephrons. Many nephrons will have many collecting ducts. All the collecting ducts from different nephrons comes and meet into one thing, that is ureter. This ureter will then take your urine to the urinary bladder, right? For this collecting duct, you must remember here and another hormone acts, and the hormone's name is antidiuretic hormone. And this antidiuretic hormone, it is also known as vasopressin. We did this hormone when we were doing the nuclei of the hypothalamus. I told you that hypothalamus is having a nuclei, supraoptical nuclei, which will secrete this antidiuretic hormone. I hope you remember this. What was the function of this? If you remember, then it was retaining H2O. So it helps you concentrate the urine. Okay, concentrated urine means that there is much less water in the urine. Diluted urine is where there is a lot of water. It helps in retaining H2O. Just you have to remember this about antidiuretic hormone. Okay, so this antidiuretic hormone mostly works at when you are feeling very thirsty. When you're feeling very thirsty, that means what? The body will try to get maximum amount of water and try to keep it in your body rather than letting it go with the urine, right? So it will come and act on the collecting duct, saying that right now my owner is very thirsty, so I am going to take back all the water from you, or most of the water from you. So this antidiuretic hormone will tell the collecting duct, and from there it will retain the water back to your body and make you feel less thirsty. That's all you have to remember about the antidiuretic hormone vasopressin, and you must remember that where it acts. Similarly, for aldosterone, you should know it acts on DCT, whereas vasopressin acts at collecting duct. Now for collecting duct, there are cells. These cells are called as dark cells. What it is? Dark cells. Dark cells are present over here, which resembles parietal cell of stomach. So stomach has a cell called as parietal cell. We will be doing this in detail during the stomach video. So parietal cell, for now you can only remember that it secretes HCl, acid in your body, in your stomach, sorry. For parietal cell, you can remember for now that it secretes HCl in your stomach to help you digest the food. So you must remember that collecting duct has this dark cells, and many collecting ducts open into ureter. Collecting ducts together open into a structure called as ureter. What is ureter? It is a pipe which connects the kidney and the urinary bladder. Now, one more thing is remaining about the nephron that you must know. It is renal filter and something called as glomerulus. About glomerulus, you must remember it is 3-layered. What it is? It is 3-layered, or also called as trilaminar. Trilaminar. What are those 3 layers? Write down. First is endothelium. What is endothelium? It will give you the ability to diffuse substances. Then it has a capillary wall. Then it has a basement membrane. Okay. Now regarding this endothelium, capillary wall and basement membrane, you must know there is one more thing which is called as podocytes. Now podocytes, they are food processes. They are food processes present between the layers. The food processes present between the layers, and they line the endothelium. Okay. What is the function of basement membrane? Write down that it prevents filtration of macromolecules. Macromolecules like proteins, glucose, these all are the substances which our body needs. They should not be thrown out with your urine, right? So these all are the substances which needs to be reabsorbed, and that is done by the basement membrane. Okay. And RBCs are also not allowed to enter the urine. Okay. So RBCs are also stopped from entering into the urine through this renal filter. You should remember this. So write a point that if you see RBC in urine, it is renal filter issue. That is glomerulus issue. Okay. If you see glucose in urine, we call it as glucoseuria. Urea is urine, glucose means glucose. So glucose in urine. Proteinuria. If you see protein in urine, it is called as proteinuria. So these all are disorders. Okay. RBC in urine, hematuria. Write down, it is called as hematuria. Okay. So these are some of the disorders of the renal filter that you should know. So for glomerulus, you should know one more thing. Write down glomerulus. It is having this Bowman's capsule, and renal capillaries. Guys, make a small change in this renal filter, please. This renal filter, it is made up of two things. One is Bowman's capsule and another is glomerulus. Okay, glomerulus is having capillaries, network of capillaries, and this network of capillaries is held into a capsule which is known as Bowman's capsule, and this glomerulus and Bowman's capsule together is your renal filter. Okay, so please make this small change and remember that. So let's look at the simplified diagram which I have drawn of the nephron. So here you can see this green color I have drawn, that is the Bowman's capsule. This is the glomerulus. What it is? Glomerulus. You can see arterioles entering into it. Okay. Then you have this PCT, which is mitochondria, and here sodium ATPase pump will take place. Sodium potassium ATPase. Then you have this loop of Henle. This side is descending because the flow is like this. Okay. So this side is descending, and you have your ascending limb of loop of Henle. Then you have this DCT. What it is? This is DCT on which hormone which hormone is acting. It is aldosterone. You have this collecting duct. Okay, and this collecting duct, what hormone acts? ADH, and at DCT, aldosterone. And this collecting duct will then open into ureter. I hope this is clear. So thank you.